Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. These last few weeks, I've been working on eliminating CDs from my life. Until recently, I had piles and piles of CD, and it was an impressive collection. But since I subscribe to iTunes Match, a program that allows me to store any MP3 and automatically backs it up into the cloud, I have less need for hard copy CDs. Look in the doobly-doo for more information on iTunes Match. But importing all this music has given me a great look back into my musical tastes, and helped me answer a question that I get asked so often. So, what music do you listen to? I think people form stereotypes for the kind of music listener I could be. Typically, the assumptions come in around, so what, you listen to a lot of classical music and stuff? Or, oh my gosh, I bet you know every single piece of music, like ever. Here's a really obscure piece of music. You know it, right? Right? I listen to lots of different kinds of music, but I would certainly love to learn more. So instead of offering you a list of my favorites, how about I showcase to you my musical upbringing, or how music has happened to me. When I was a little kid, I listened to whatever was playing around the house. Beatles, Genesis, Sting, whatever my parents listened to, basically. But I remember this piece of music. My neighbor played it one day. I do remember getting my first CD, and it was Mariah Carey's debut album. As an adolescent, I was drawn to that music, but I was also really drawn to Rhapsody in Blue and George Gershwin in general. But the first song I ever sang, everything I do, I do it for you. Once I got to high school, the dynamic changed a little bit. It was nothing but Broadway. And while I was surrounded in a world of Les Mis and Into the Woods and Ragtime and Chicago, there was also a little teenage angsty part of me. And that teenage angsty part of me was listening to Alanis Morissette. Yo, I don't know. And while my musical tastes were changing, they were certainly becoming my own. This included things like Ben Folds 5, like Audra McDonald, and the soundtrack to Romeo and Juliet. You know, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio? And then came Dave. Place them in a box until a quieter time. Also a little bit of Eminem and Dr. Dre. Slim Shady. But there was also a part of me that was learning to appreciate music a little outside of the spectrum of classical. For instance, I got really into Gurecki's Third, and I really enjoy the music of Steve Reich. For example, this piece of music is called Music for 18 Musicians. It's part of his whole thing of minimalism. And then college! It was my third night there, and I got asked by my RA if I wanted to go to a concert. And I did. And I discovered this new group called Over the Rhine, and I have loved them ever since. I also gained new friends, including my roommate, who introduced me to the music of Cake. Sheep go to heaven, goats go to... And I got interested in Portishead and Massive Attack and Yo-Yo Ma and Bobby McFerrin and Maroon 5. I also really started appreciating soundtracks, including the music of Thomas Newman, who's famous for things like Pay It Forward and American Beauty. But also one of my favorite soundtracks was Oh Brother Where Art Thou. The Red Violin is also way up on that list. And some things just stuck out more than others, including Dvorak's Symphony No. 9, Holst the Planets, Barbara's Adagio for Strings, and the choral music of Eric Whitacre. And the musical education continued even after my undergrad years. The soundtrack to Illusionist, Once, Jack Johnson. Lots of different world music as I learned it from Putumayo Records and was incorporating into my music classroom. There's a particular part of me that's also really fascinated with guitar music, particularly this artist, Kaki King. And like any new hipster, I'm also totally into Mumford & Sons, Imagine Dragons. I made some very Spotify playlists. If you're interested, you can find that link in the doobly-doo. But for now, a haiku. Exploring is fun. As I grow, so does my taste. What's on your iPod?